This is Paul Turner, the Immigration Barrister at Imperium Chambers. Thank you for tuning into my channel. And if you have an immigration problem or you want some immigration advice, please get in touch with me and I'll do my level best to help you. Or if you're just uncertain about your immigration status, then get in touch and I'll provide you some honest advice. The video today is the second video on the new Home Office guidance on COVID and migrants, which was published on the 8th of July 2022. I did the first video a couple of days ago. As I've mentioned, please subscribe to my channel as I'm aiming to get about 6,000 subscribers by the end of the summer. I've got about around 5,800, so you'd be helping me out if you did. Today, as I've mentioned, I'm going to be talking about the COVID guidance and in respect concessions that the Home Office have made if you're applying to enter the United Kingdom or seek leave to remain in the United Kingdom on the basis of family or private life. In this second video on these changes, it's important to note that they came into force on the 8th of July 2022 and replaced the previous guidance. So relying on the previous guidance and the more generous concessions would not be clever. I will be focusing in this video, surprisingly, on the good news in respect of these concessions for people who are applying for entry clearance to the United Kingdom on the basis, as I've mentioned before, of family and private life, which forms a lot of applications. Firstly, I just want to insert a word about those who are not able to travel back to the United Kingdom. If you were unable to travel back to the United Kingdom due to coronavirus travel restrictions between the 1st of March 2020 and the 19th of July 2021, a short break of up to 6 months in continuous residence will be overlooked and you will face no further adverse immigration consequences. So this is good news for you if you're seeking to come back or in respect of an application for indefinite leave to remain. Now turning back to the general concessions. Firstly, fiancés. If you're here with 6 months leave as a fiancé or proposed civil partner, under the current immigration laws allow you to apply for an extension of leave if there is a good reason why your wedding or civil partnership did not take place within the initial 6 months leave that you were granted. Common sense has prevailed and the Home Office has said that a cancellation of a wedding or a civil partnership due to the coronavirus pandemic will be considered a good reason under this policy. It's not surprising because lots of registry offices closed. Now again, some very welcome in my view changes to the minimum income and adequate maintenance requirement that you'll need to meet for the immigrant to gain leave to remain or enter. If you've experienced a loss of income up to the 31st of October 2021, the Home Office will consider employment income for the period immediately before the loss of income, provided that minimum income requirement was met for at least 6 months immediately before the date the income was lost. If your salary was reduced because you were furloughed, they will take into account your incomes if you were earning 100% of your salary. But note that this concession is coming to the end on the 31st of October 2021. If you're self-employed, a loss of annual income due to coronavirus between the 1st of March 2020 and the 31st of October 2021 will usually be disregarded, along with the impact on employment income for the same period for any future applications. However, as I've mentioned, there is an important warning here. This concession is about to end, as it did with the NHS concession. The concession has not been extended beyond the 31st of October 2021, which is in the past. This is very important, highlights that if you're going to make an application, make it as soon as possible, as the concessions are slowly being whittled away. Any income loss after the 31st of October 2021 will not be taken into account when within the financial concessions listed above, and applicants will be expected to meet the minimum income and adequate maintenance requirements as per pre-pandemic levels. So again, get your application in, don't delay. Another welcome change really, and they've maintained this, is that if you're unable to provide specified documents, the Home Office in some cases will be able to decide your application without seeing certain specified documents if you can't get them to coronavirus until the 31st of March 2022. So again, this is a concession which is due to end very shortly, or has ended in effect, but there's obviously a backlog to it. Otherwise, you will be expected to submit the specified documents after the date of application. And if you don't submit the specified documents, you will be refused. Now, turning to changes to the English language requirement, which I've done a video on recently. If you're asked to take an English language test as part of your application, lots of centres have reopened. But you can apply for an exemption if you can show that the test centre was closed or you couldn't travel to it due to coronavirus when you made the application. However, in my view, if you're seeking an exemption from the English language test, given that most centres have reopened, you will need to provide proper evidence of this. As we can see, despite the rising number of infections, the Home Office is tightening up the concessions, which means that if you want to stay in the United Kingdom lawfully, then you either ought to make an application for leave to remain as soon as possible, apply for exception assurance, or make sure that your leave doesn't run out, or if your exception assurance is coming to an end, that you apply to extend it. As we can see, the Home Office, as I say, despite the rising number of infections, is removing the concessions that were fairly generous a year and a half or so ago. So be warned, yes, there are concessions, but they are being withdrawn. So get your application in quickly or run the risk of being refused. I hope this second video has been useful. A third one will be coming out on Friday, and that will be covering people that want to make applications from abroad and sweeping up all the other concessions and information contained in the 8th of July guidance. Thank you again for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. This is Paul Turner, the Immigration Barrister at Imperium Chambers.